Hello all you lovely lads, lassies, and those of unspecified gender. It's the Irishman here, and today I'm going to be talking about what would have happened if Goku married Android 18. This is the 8th and final part to this what if, and if you have not already seen the other 7 parts, I would greatly recommend you go check those videos out. Seriously, this is the final part. If you haven't seen the others, you will not understand most of what's going on. Also, before we get into the story of the what if, I would like to say thank you all so much. I recently just hit 4,000 watch hours in the last year, and I also have 950 subscribers as of making this video, so thank you all very much for that. Now, with all of this out of the way, let's get into the story of this what if. Let the tournament of power begin! As the tournament would begin, people would be getting knocked out left, right, and center. Speaking of the center, though, Universe 7 would stay in the middle of the ring. Some of the weaker fighters would be told to stay in the middle at all times as to be harder to be eliminated. Although some of the stronger members of the team, such as Goku and Gohan, would actually go out trying to get more eliminations. Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, and Piccolo would be the people actually going out and fighting to try and get more eliminations. That way they have a higher ranking in terms of knockouts. Although another member of their team that would decide to go out and fight and get more eliminations would be Frieza, but he wouldn't be going in the same way as the other members of the group. He would be much more violent and vindictive, making sure to hit people where it hurt. Now, why would Frieza be on this team if he would still not be trustworthy? In fact, if Gohan's leading the team, why would he accept someone like Frieza into it? Well, it's because he's just far too strong. At the end of the tournament, they can either just not revive him or kill him off anyway, and he really isn't a threat anymore. Although, he is still incredibly powerful, and somebody that would definitely be a proper asset to the team. But who are the other 5 members who are staying in the center of the arena? Well, that'd be 18, Nappa, Raditz, Goten, and Trunks. Goten and Trunks would actually be picked to fight in this tournament, as 18 would take a lot more time actually training Goten, while Vegeta would spend a lot more time focusing on training Trunks. Although he would still focus on increasing his own abilities, making sure his son is strong is still something he would take a lot of pride in. Now, you might be wondering why I have Goten and Trunks in the team if I haven't really talked at all about them before this point. Well, that's because the Buu Saga didn't really happen in this what if, and Goten and Trunks were only really important in the Buu Saga. So here, let's give them a chance to shine now. Goten and Trunks would actually be a bit older than they were before, as 18 would take the two of them into the hyperbolic time chamber to allow them to get a bit older and a bit more experience before participating in the tournament. But she wouldn't be the only person going into the Room of Spirit and Time. Before she went in, Piccolo and Vegeta would spend a few years in there. Since Goku went off to train with the God of Destruction and got so incredibly powerful with his godly side, Vegeta had to find a new rival. And it turns out, Piccolo, who was probably the strongest of the group when Goku left, well, before Goku left, would be looking for someone to train with as well. And Vegeta just fit the mark, as the two of them were similar in power. Vegeta with Kaioken on top of any of his Super Saiyan forms was enough to match Piccolo with his ultimate form. So then the two of them continued to train, and eventually both of them stumbled upon a new power. Vegeta would mix Ikari with Super Saiyan and be able to get Super Saiyan 4. And that adding Kaioken on top of that, he was able to push Piccolo to accessing a new realm of power, his orange form. And the two of them training together got incredibly powerful from all of that time spent together in the room. Then, entering the tournament, they actually caught up to Goku and Gohan at least a little bit. And now, with the rest of the group so powerful, the tournament seems like a bit of a wash, right? No, because not only did Universe 7 get stronger, but Universe 6 did as well. Most of the fodder members of the other universes wouldn't really see any notable increase, although Universe 6 definitely would, as the Universe 6 Saiyans were trained better by Goku, or at least Kappa was, so he was able to teach Caulifla and Kale what he learned. not only how to access Super Saiyan, but also Super Saiyan 2. With this knowledge, they would train and even access Super Saiyan 3 on their own. But then, they would remember something else Goku probably would have told Kaba, something about the Super Saiyan God. They would try out the ritual Goku had told them about, but it wouldn't work, as Yamoshi's soul had already been used for the ritual with the original 6 Saiyans in the Battle of God saga. Plus, Yamoshi's soul wasn't wandering around Universe 6, so the ritual doesn't really work there. But knowing that there is some godly power they could attain, this would push them to work even harder, and eventually, Kappa would actually be able to do it, accessing Super Saiyan God. Kale would have Super Saiyan, or the legendary version of it, and Caulifla would evolve Super Saiyan 3, not getting Super Saiyan 4, but mastering the Super Saiyan 3 state. All 3 of them would be incredibly powerful, and entering the tournament, they might actually be able to stand a shot against most of the other Universe 7 fighters. In fact, once Kale and Caulifla actually fuse after Goku fights Jiren for the first time, and most of that encounter goes basically the same, Goku would be pushed to actually master Ultra Instinct in his fight with them, as they would be able to access legendary Super Saiyan 3, which, as far as I know, is only really a fan-made form, but is still definitely possible. So now, Goku fighting against this fusion would have mastered Ultra Instinct, and would barely even be able to stand a chance with that, although he would be able to knock them out after a while. But little did Goku expect, after beating Kefla, he would have to fight against his former pupil, Kaba, who would be looking to get a rematch, especially after unlocking the Super Saiyan God power. And Goku, entering Super Saiyan God himself, would be able to help Kaba just as much as he did before, even helping the young Saiyan unlock Super Saiyan Blue. Although Goku, he's a bit washed out, so he can't really fight right now. He's low on energy, and Kaba might actually be able to knock him out here. Although, Gohan would step in, going into his beast form, and teaching Kaba that there is always another height to strive for. Then Gohan, now having used his beast form for the first time in the tournament, would gain the attention of Jiren, who is looking for a proper challenge in this tournament possibly. Then, sensing the power of Gohan Beast, Jiren thinks he might just be able to get that challenge, going into his full power state right away and landing a hit straight on Gohan's cheek, which would send him flying, although Gohan would regain his footing and charge at Jiren like a speeding bull. The two would go at it for a few minutes, and after a while Jiren would be placed on the back foot. Although he might have been able to beat Gohan once he first unlocked the Beast form in this timeline, well, after he trained with it and accessed God Ki on top of it, the Beast form was just too much, and especially now, during the Tournament of Power, Gohan is just far too much for Jiren to handle, and Jiren, the strongest member of the tournament that we had seen thus far, would be knocked out. Although Gohan is a bit fatigued, as Jiren was definitely a challenge. A few minutes during the tournament would pass, and eventually Frieza would piss Toppo off just so much that he has to break his morals and awaken to his God of Destruction form. Vegeta, seeing this, would be in awe and decide that he wants to try and fight that, entering Super Saiyan 4 and activating Kaioken on top. And, well, Toppo is actually quite a bit surprised by this. It's incredibly powerful, and there isn't any godly energy emanating off of him. This is pure mortal strength. He's surprised, although Vegeta is still not strong enough, and Toppo would proceed to, well, basically just bully him like he was doing to Frieza. But then Vegeta would begin to get enraged, breaking his limits and entering the well-named Limit Breaker form. Limit Breaker is basically just Super Saiyan 4 mixed with God Ki, and I feel like here it would be a fitting thing for Vegeta to unlock. He's definitely been exposed to enough God Ki to be able to do this, and after entering this form, Toppo is practically nothing to him. Vegeta would be able to overpower the so-called God of Destruction candidate, before then tossing him out of the ring and using a Gallic gun to ensure that Toppo would not be able to find a way back in. Then, after Universe 11 is basically defeated, they would begin to be erased. It turns out when you have some of the strongest members of the tournament, you get a bit targeted, and Universe 11 would actually be erased quite a bit sooner than in the original. Now, with the two strongest teams other than Universe 7 completely washed, as in Universe 6 and 11, Universe 7 would be on a clear path to victory, and eventually, they would win. There isn't really much more to say about this. They'd be able to bulldoze through the rest of the fighters, and although Ribery Ann, as we all know, is the strongest being in any universe, they would decide to hold back and let Universe 7 actually get the victory. Now, with the tournament over, what does Universe 7 wish for? Well, who'd be the MVP? Probably Gohan, as he'd be able to defeat the strongest and probably most amount of opponents, so he wishes for every other universe to be brought back. We would find out that this was actually the only wish Zeno would have accepted, and if they didn't wish for that, then Zeno would get so upset that he would just wipe out everything. Luckily, they dodged a pretty big bullet there, and all of the universes are brought back. So where do we go from here? Well, we only really have one place, the Broly movie. As I don't want to cover either of the manga-only arcs, and quite frankly, Dragon Ball Super Superhero either just wouldn't happen because the android threat and any remnants of the Red Ribbon Army would be completely destroyed, or it would just be handled very easily as we already have a stronger Gohan Beast and Orange Piccolo. So, really, we only have the Broly movie left to cover, and it would go incredibly easy. Although, let me set the scene. We would be in the frozen tundra. Frieza would arrive with his ship, Broly in tow, and then, as Frieza steps out looking at the two Saiyans, both Goku and Gohan, Broly would be sent out, charging at the two of them. He would fight Gohan first, and this was his worst mistake, as Gohan is the one that would not take it easy. Gohan would immediately power up into Ultimate, which would be akin to Super Saiyan Blue Goku, possibly even with Kaioken on top, so Broly is kind of screwed, although, as we know, he can grow in power incredibly quickly. Gohan, seeing this, would eventually decide the only way to end this fight is to go all out right away, and he would do just that, powering up into Beast, and although Broly can grow incredibly quickly, he cannot grow quick enough to actually overcome this gap. Gohan would end the fight right away, knocking Broly out, although Broly is still somewhat conscious. Seeing that he doesn't have many other choices, Frieza would shoot Paragus through the chest and act as if Gohan did it. Broly would immediately power up into Super Saiyan, becoming enraged, and all of his wounds healed, his power soaring. Broly would immediately charge at Gohan, and this is surprising, as Broly's insane growth actually allows him to fight somewhat on par with the Half Saiyan. And as Broly continues to grow, Goku would decide the only way this fight can be finished is if they were to teleport away and use fusion. So he would do just that, grabbing onto Gohan, teleporting away, and teaching him the fusion dance as quickly as possible. Then after a while, they'd be able to learn it, fusing into Gokhan. The fusion would be incredibly powerful and would arrive on the battlefield to fight against Broly, who would be being held off by Whis. Gokhan would then power up into Super Saiyan Blue Beast Mode, which would be incredibly powerful and look incredibly cool, and then with a single Kamehameha would immediately defeat Broly. And that's how I see the Broly movie going. It'd be a one-hit KO from Gokhan, and Broly would be taken out relatively easily, although he would be a threat for a minute there, although it'd basically just go the same way it did in the Broly movie. And that's where we're going to be ending things for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this, I certainly enjoyed making it, and if you ever want to see this series continue, let's get the full story video to 1,000 likes. Then I know a lot of people like this story, and that's probably the most likes I've ever gotten on any video. So that definitely means you guys want to see this series continue. I don't really like the manga-only arcs, but I'd be willing to cover it if the full story video gets to 1,000 likes. Now, this is, always has been, and always will be the Irishman. Thank you so very much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.